Hi, I'm Chad, and you're watching Square Body Stuff. What's wrong, Tex? I turned your fan off? Yeah, it's not too bad in here today. What's going on, everybody? It's not too bad warm out in the shop, but me and old Tex are out here messing around with the trucks. I got to get these guys ready for the C10 Cruising Show in Springfield, Missouri for September 9th. But I got to get these two guys up to show quality. They're not show trucks, they are what they are. You know, old Squeaky and then old Cream Puff, which Cream Puff's my daily driver. He stays pretty well dirty and nasty. He hasn't been cleaned or anything since the Oklahoma truck gathering in Oklahoma City. What was that? Earlier this year. Anyways, Buff with Buff's Garage was nice enough to come down and drive Cream Puff all the way there and all the way back for us, and he even done a really bang up detailed job on him. But since then, yeah, he's just been driven, and I live on a gravel road, so yeah, he's pretty nasty. I don't know if you guys can see that wire. It's split. This power steering hose right here is kind of squirting right up there onto the header, which is not good. I thought it was this fitting down here, but it's not. I'm going to pull these off and make sure, see what kind of ends they are, if they're flared or if they've got the O-ring. There should be flared. Like I said, I can't remember for sure. The return line needs to be replaced. It's getting cracked and nasty. So while I'm doing it, I'm going to replace both of them. But that's going to be in a later video because I don't have the parts for that. But I do have plugs, plug wires, and cap and rotor for the ignition system. So I figured I'd kind of do a simple how-to on how to change out your plugs and plug wires and distributor cap and rotor, because as simple as it may seem to some of you, and you know, I've might as well have done a million of them, there may be that one guy out there, or you know, whoever that has never done it before and might just need that extra push, or to watch somebody else do it to give them the confidence to try it. Because I know in the past when I was young and I'd done my first couple, you get the plug wires crossed, or sometimes you just don't know exactly what you're doing. So here's a video for you guys if you're wanting to learn how to do this, or at least how I do it. It may, you know, there's not really a right or wrong. I guess there is, but I'll show you how I do it. Hope you watch along and maybe learn something. I got the air cleaner off. It's a good idea to get in the habit of unhooking your negative battery cable anytime you're working on anything. You just never know when you might accidentally hit, you know, something across a wire. You never know, so it's just good practice to unhook your negative battery cable. Now I've got all my parts kind of set out. Got my spark plugs, got distributor cap and rotor kit. I've got some plug wires. Now these plug wires are some Excel 8.8 millimeters. Not really necessary for this application, but I've got like 6 boxes of them because, well, 3 boxes of the 90-degree boot and 3 boxes of the 115-degree boot, because I got them on clearance through the Holley website. So that's what I've got on hand. That's what I'm gonna put on here. Yeah, you're gonna have to have some dielectric grease, which usually plug wires come with a little packet of it. With these wires, it came with these little things. These are a pain. I'm not going to use these. These are to assemble your plug wires. I have some pliers that I could do it with, or this guy from MSD, he came with a set of MSD wires I put on. This guy's pretty handy to actually crimp on the ends once you get your wires to where you want them. Now I've done, like I said, a jillion of these things, so I normally don't worry about trying to keep track of my plug wires and what order they're in, because I'm going to redo it all anyways, and I'm pretty familiar with the firing order. It's 18436 which starts over here. The main thing you need to make sure you mark or have established before you take anything off is where your number 1 is on your distributor cap, and then make sure you get your distributor cap back where it should be, and then start there. Typically number 1 will be the one pointed towards number 1 cylinder. If your wires are run correctly, I guess you could say, the way it's supposed to be, where number 1 is pointing towards the number 1 cylinder, this one will be number 1 on generally on your HEIs, but always make sure before you pull your wires off which one it is. Small block Chevys, big block Chevys, your 4.3 V6s, Even your inline sixes are still standard rotation, which will be clockwise. Now I'm just going to jerk all these wires off here, get them out of the way. And the wires on this truck were not ran the greatest, and yeah, that's why I'm gonna redo them. They've been this way for like 3 years, 4 years, and yeah, it's a mess. So we're going to a show in a week, so I'm gonna try to make him look a little bit better, and it'll run better. He's about due for some plug wires. First, you need to unhook your power wire, which my little clip is broke. I need to replace that in, and your tack wire, if you have it, which it's marked on your cap, or it should be. Tack is towards the front of the engine, and the battery from your ignition is to the back. Get those out of the way, and then get the plug connector from the pickup module inside the distributor. And now we're ready to undo the cap retaining clips, which they're like a quarter turn. They can be kind of a pain to get to, especially when you're an old fat guy like me. You kind of push them down and get a little quarter turn and pull it off. That cap's not in horrible shape like I was expecting it to be, but it's got some age on it. We'll go ahead and replace it. Now to pull the rotor off, you have 2 retaining screws. Sometimes they're a hex head, sometimes they're Phillips. Depends on the brand or whatever rotor you got in there. And now's a good time to inspect your weights and your springs. Make sure everything's working freely inside here. This one's got quite a bit of wear. Yeah, these things are flopping around like, well, I might have to address that situation pretty soon. Okay, well, we just run into another issue. I think I've got another distributor with a good set of weights and everything in it, so yeah, I think I'm gonna pull a distributor out, fix that, or replace this distributor. But I've already got a video of replacing distributor and all that stuff. Main thing is make sure you're turn your engine over to where it's pointing at number 1, or get it stabbed exactly right back to where it was. But that's on a whole nother video. I'm not going to go through that on this one. But yeah, these might be causing. He don't run bad. He's just, you know, a little tired. Motor's got a little age on it, but I'm sure that that's not helping one bit. Those things are, I think they're actually even past putting new bushings in. So I'll see what I can come up with. All right, it's not new, but it's way better. I just went ahead and left the rotor on there. Nothing really much to see there. The rotor's easy enough to explain how to install. You just stick it on there. It is tabbed. I guess I could show you on the other distributor real quick, but it is tabbed. It'll only go on one way. And this old rotor, it's seen its better days. It was probably between this and those advanced weights, may have been some of the lack of power issues I seem to be having. It wasn't bad, but just I could just tell you wasn't quite right. But this guy's pretty rough. I've seen worse. And this rotor only go on one way. It's got a notch that will coincide with the notch on your shaft. It won't go the other way because the other side's not notched out. And you can see these weights, they're jacked up. I might be able to save it, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I've got another good distributor in there. You can see where this one was actually riding up. Yeah, that wasn't not good. Now your cap may be just a little bit different. May have a little bit different mounting style. Some of them just have the 4 screws to go down through here. This one has the 3 on the sides. I'll pull this off. We'll get the coil out and we'll stick it in our new distributor cap. Sometimes these are Phillips head, sometimes they're a hex head. Just depends on what you got. Your kit should come with this little carbon button, the spring on it, and it goes with the spring up. That carbon button will run on your rotor right there, and that's what transfers the firepower out to the end to each individual thing, each terminal. This guy will need some dielectric grease on it. I'm going to go ahead and use up this stuff in this little packet that came with the plug wires. You don't have to gob it on there. Just a nice layer. Alright, now let's get this coil out. Push that up. Make sure you get your ground strap. And my fat fingers are having a hard time grabbing it. And transfer it over to your new cap. And I would suggest to not use, and I've got all my deals set, you have to kind of push them down and turn them to get him set out like that. Set it on there, kind of wiggle around, make sure it's in that notch, and then start putting your, you have to push down and turn them. Make sure it's in the notch. Hook our wires back up. I'm going to go ahead and change out all my plugs. Before I do, I'm going to show you how to gap them real quick. Probably don't want to do any video on changing plugs out. It's pretty self-explanatory. Depends on your header type. There's a couple of them that may be a little difficult to get to. This one, number 6, is a little bit tough to get to. I've had some headers at number 5 and number 6 are like almost impossible without just a box end wrench and get in there. These are pretty decent headers. I don't know what brand they are. I think they're hooker headers. Don't even know what vehicle they're actually for, but they fit the truck good. They're used, so I used them. But anyhow, let's show you how to gap some plugs real quick. But the stock gap, which is 45 thousandths, is plenty good for a good HEI distributor. Anywhere between 40 and 50 thousandths is good. You can get one of these little doodads from your auto parts store. It's kind of a ramp setup. You just slide your spark plug around there, and I'll show you where it's at, which that's right around 37. And I just kind of give a little tweak and bend it out a little bit until it goes around to around 40 to 45. Give it just a little bit more, and now we're around 45. Hope you guys can see that. Now there's another style of the cheap plug gapper. Basically same thing. You just, each one of these is a different thickness, and you find out which one you want it at, and you keep working at it. But this has got a nice little tab here where you can latch onto that side electrode and kind of tweak it back and forth to get it where you want it, to where it fits on the measurement you want. That's about all there is to gapping plugs. Not super scientific, and really just gotta be close. Like I said, 40 to 50 thousandths would be just fine. Now if you got some other application, if you're running nitrous or a power adder or something like that, usually a little bit less of a gap, but that's special situations. For the spark plugs, I use NGKs a lot. Nothing wrong with any of the other brands, just what I prefer. These are UR4s, the V-Powers. They have like a little V-notch there in the electrode. The top electrode or side electrode, whatever you want to call it, only comes to about halfway to your center electrode. That helps unshroud your spark. I like these plugs, they do real good. But they're probably the equivalent to like a AC Delco R44TS or R45TS, somewhere in there. But feel free to use whatever spark plugs you like to use. This is what I prefer to use. All right, now the fun part. If you've got ready-made plug wires, the best thing to do is I usually start with number 8. It will be the shortest one. Start on your distributor where number 1 is. Number 8 will be next. Run number 8 over. That's how I normally do it. I'll go with the shortest wires first, get them out of the way, get them ran, and then go to the longer ones, which number 2 and number 3 will be your longest wires, because 2 goes from the passenger or the driver's side of the distributor cap all the way over to the front cylinder on the passenger side. Number 3 goes from the passenger side of the distributor all the way over to almost the front of the driver's side. So those are 2 longest wires. I usually wait last to do those, but however you want to do it, just take your time, make sure you route it good, and not like I had this one. That was a pretty bad wiring job. Alright, so I got dielectric grease on both ends. I'm going to stick it on number 8 plug. Make sure it gets good and clipped on there. Number 8 on the distributor. And there we go. Just got 7 more to go. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see if it'll start and run. Well, the wires are way more tidy than they were when I started this little project. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Or if you just want to say hi in the comments below. I'm not sure where Tex is at. He's kind of mad at me because I keep shutting his fan off, so I think he's at the house. But anyhow, yeah, that's it. Till next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.